All right, we are live, baby. We'll let it breathe just for a second and get things cooking. Boy, oh boy, what a busy day today at Broncos HQ, and a lot cooking. We're just connecting to Facebook, and we'll get started, man. In fact, I'm just diving in. All right. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zack, I was late getting late, probably the latest I've ever been getting the stream scheduled tonight. So people are like, yo, are they even going live? That was my fault, guys. But here we are nonetheless. Busy day, Zack, and it kind of started with some not so great news with Dre Greenlaw exiting the field, limping, kind of trying to walk it off at first, then exited the field. We heard from Coach Payton after the fact, but what do you know about it, and what are some of your takeaways?
Well, with every inside linebacker injury, Chad, I think back to your prescient thought about should the Broncos have signed C.J. Mosley, and I still think maybe they should explore just a temporary veteran solution because now they are down for the time being 3 inside linebackers. Dre Greenlaw, it wasn't the quad as was originally reported. There was a tweet out there that he aggravated that again. It sounds like it was a hammy, considering he pulled up lame in a pass coverage drill against J.K. Dobbins. Felt tightness. He tried to walk it off, couldn't walk it off. He went to the locker room. Sean Payton said he should be fine. If it was up to me, Chad, I would shut Greenlaw down until week 1. He has coming off an Achilles and then the quad and now a hamstring. Just get him right for Tennessee.
Man, it's a tough situation, and it's sketchy, dude, because on one hand, you want him out there to continue to build the callus, but could he really be that? I don't want to say precious because that would be ridiculous, but that susceptible to injury. I mean, I guess Zack, he's a guy that goes hard, right? I mean, Sean Payton 2-3 days ago was talking about, I guess it was Monday, how he reminds him of Mike Tyson. And, Tyson took some lumps here and there, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like the pressure. It kind of creates this juju, right? If you're Dre Greenlaw and you were so close to like achieving greatness, your team's in the Super Bowl, that freak injury, and then you just can't get away from it. You sign a new deal. Something's got to happen for him to snap the juju is what I'm getting at. Something good, and maybe that's what it takes, Zack. Maybe it takes the Broncos shutting him down until the games count. Let's grab Sam Bam. What's up, bro? Great to see you tonight, my friend.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much for the super chat. It means the world to us, big dog. Says, evening, Chad and Zack. Was wondering if the podcast was happening tonight. Hope the Greenlaw injury isn't too serious. Anyhow, sounds like things are going well in camp thus far. Go Broncos, 11-6 and a playoff win. Yeah, again, guys, it was my fault. You know, I schedule a stream every day, and unless I'm out of town or doing something, Scott will do it for me. But there have been times where I've got things cooking. Maybe I got to take my daughter to, practice, or I'm coming back from this facility, or I'm doing whatever, and I'm a little late getting the stream up. But Zack can attest to this, dude. I'm like so busy cranking out content today. It just didn't occur to me. Even though I knew we're streaming tonight, he texted me, whatever it was, 10 minutes before the top of the hour, just talking about, okay, I'll be ready at this time. Like, okay, cool. Even that, Zack, wasn't a reminder like, oh, well, maybe I need to like actually create the stream. And then I'm hopping on to get into the stream, and I'm like, oh, there's no stream. Duh. And I'm like, oh, crap, bro. So it was one of those like, slow down, Jensen, like, take a deep breath here, buddy. But it was a busy news day today, Zack, including some Zack Allen rumors, which are interesting. We can get into that too.
Yeah, I'll test. I thought I was running a little late, and Chad called me. I thought he was going to ream me out. Instead, he was like, oh, I don't even have the stream scheduled, so give me 2 minutes. Yes, we got it up, and we're up and running as normal, guys. But the Zack Allen front, Chad, was that spicy rumor from Pretty Ricky of all NFL insiders. He's broken a lot of stories over the last few months, and he has reported that the Broncos are closing in on an extension with Zack Allen. We don't know the numbers. We assume it's lucrative, but that's the scuttlebutt right now. The Broncos are going to lock down number 99.
I was surprised he wasn't the first guy, but at the same time, in hindsight, it's understandable why Courtland Sutton was the first one to get the bag. Ronk, what's up, bro? Great to see you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I don't know what we do without you. It looks like one of the Facebook streams doesn't want to connect. What else is new? So I already shared the MHH pod Facebook stream to the main MHH page. So I don't know. Maybe we need to just like start only streaming to one of those pages or something, Zach. I don't know what it is. But that didn't start happening for us. We did it for how many years? 5.5 years to both accounts. And then all of a sudden in November, I still remember when it started happening. It was right around Thanksgiving. It starts wanting to not connect to Facebook once every 4 or 5 times. It drives me nuts. Anyway, Ronk, love you, big dog. Thank you so much. So, Zach, on the subject of Allen, when I was writing that up today, the rumor, and that's what it is so far, is it's a rumor, but relatively credible rumor, though it is. What do you think he's in line for? Because the highest paid guy, as far as interior defenders is concerned, is Chris Jones, well over $30 million per year. The next guy is Milton Williams, who just got basically $27 million per year on the free agent market a couple months ago. I would think that that's probably the benchmark for Allen, right? Kind of like a starting point.
Yeah, you nailed it. I was going to bring up Milton. I don't know if it's 26 or 27, something in that territory, Chad, but we do know from a couple months ago or whatever, February, there was a report that Allen wanted in the neighborhood of $25 million annually. And that about lines up to where I think he'll be. Maybe a 4-year deal, $100 million, 60 guaranteed. I don't know, but I do think in terms of APY, he'll be in the 25 per year neighborhood.
We shall see how soon that kind of takes shape and comes together, but it could be within a couple of days, or it could be one of those things where, the Broncos like to make news on a Monday, then they bring in guys for tryouts on Tuesday. And speaking of which, Zach, the Broncos made a couple of roster moves today, and that's another little something. We'll get to training camp, their actual practice today, day 6. Trust. We'll talk about all that stuff, but breakdown for everybody who may have missed it, the roster moves today.
Yeah, so everyone's favorite undrafted free agent, Johnny Walker Jr., went to IR with an undisclosed injury. So RIP, Broncos GOAT. And the corresponding roster move, Chad, the Broncos signed Garrett Nelson, former Nebraska outside linebacker. He had a cup of coffee with the Bengals, cup of coffee with the Dolphins a couple years ago, spent the last 2 seasons playing in the UFL, United Football League, for the San Antonio Brahmas, I think they're called. And he's just depth on the depth chart behind the locked-in starters and Jonah Ellis and Dondre Tillman.
Tough break for the undrafted rookie, but who knows? Maybe he'll be able to stick around and compete again next year. Time will tell. But no, switching back real quick to Greenlaw for Pearl. Here's the exact thing that Sean Payton said today on whether or not it's a significant injury for Dre Greenlaw. Quote, "No, I think he's fine. In the one-on-one period, he felt it get tight, a different area, in other words, not the quad. And so we'll know more. We'll go ahead and have the full precautionary work done, but I think he'll be all right," close quote. So that's what the coach is saying. They're going to go ahead and do their due diligence, as Zach was talking about earlier, and MRI, make sure it's nothing too serious. But meantime, Zach, thank the football gods that LaVelle Bailey has been continuing to, give some hope at inside linebacker beyond Greenlaw, beyond Singleton, who's out. Sanders, he's out. I mean, you're already getting into the real weeds, so to speak, Zach, of this inside linebacker depth chart. They're getting to a point where just for the reps, like we were saying, what are they going to do with Greenlaw? Are they going to, put him in bubble wrap and wait till September to roll him back out? I don't know. But if that's even on their mind, if he's going to kind of fall into that load management system even more severely than that Sean Payton's kind of got cooking for certain guys, you got to go out and make a few acquisitions here. Like either that or even like Q Robinson. If you're thinking, well, maybe kick him inside, let him play inside linebacker, because there were some rumblings that could possibly be in store for him. But he's missed practice now 2 days in a row. Right. So my point being, hey, while the getting's still a little bit good, possibly go out and bring in a guy or two, one of whom, like, hey, bring it, dude. If the best predictor of the future is the past, right? The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, then the football gods or the football fates or whatever you want to call it, Zach, are telling the Broncos right now, your top 2 linebackers, this is going to be a problem for you this year. Now, that's not me saying, oh my gosh, I forecast, season-ending injuries and it's going to be calamity and inside linebacker. That's not what I'm saying, but you got to be smart right now and go, okay, this is probably going to be a little bit of a thing for us this year. So let's go ahead and get someone while the getting's good. And last I checked, Zach, Eric Kendricks is still out there. David McElrath, the Papa Bear. Great to see you, big dog. Thank you for the super chat and for being a member on YouTube. Says, good evening, Broncos country on super chat. Hashtag 13 and 4 plus. Zach.
Thank you, David. It is pretty concerning, Chad. If the Broncos had to play a game tomorrow, their starting inside linebackers more than likely would be Justin Sternad and Lavelle Bailey. It's not a great situation. But like you said, at least Bailey is starting to stand out in practice. He's been one of the winners thus far in camp. And even Sean Payton said he's looked good, real good, according to Sean. And that's a big compliment coming from him. He's looked good in pass coverage against the run. I thought he should have gotten more opportunity last season, Chad, with all the injuries to inside linebacker. But here we are. And we just have to hope that Greenlaw, it's not major. It is minor. The Singleton injury is minor. But like you said, we have to wonder, two injury-prone guys, how much longer are they going to stay healthy when they do get healthy?
I mean, Sean Payton said, for what it's worth, and this could be part of what's a good way to put this? This is good. This has obviously been some kind of an influence on what's been going on, but like yesterday's practice, so day 5, Adam Troutman, he stands at the podium today, right? This is his 3rd year with the Broncos, and he said that this is, I'll quote it. He said that, where was it? That's Troutman. I think the biggest thing was yesterday's practice. I've felt it before here, but that was like, oh yes, we're ready for this. All the expectations and everything. Yesterday's practice was the best practice I've been a part of in my 3 years here, and ever since Sean Payton got here. So then he goes on to talk about how they're trending in the right direction and all that, Zach. Sean Payton even preceding Troutman talked about how it was very physical, and we talked about last night on the Mile High Insiders, which I've co-hosted. Dude, I've been on every single podcast since Sunday, and I'm happy to do it. But we talked about how it got a little chirpy in yesterday's practice with players talking at each other, especially Malcolm Roach and J.K. Dobbins. But Sean Payton, Zach, was glad that physicality and the high emotions didn't spill over into Bronco on Bronco. No clearing of the stands, so to speak, but still, it was a very physical practice. It's like, dude, hey, Dre, save some of that for September, homeboy.
Yeah, it's the chirpiness, Chad, could be attributed to a fat guy. Not my words. That's according to Marvin Mims. He called Malcolm Roach. He goes, it's just Roach. He goes, what are you even talking for? You're a fat guy. But you can read about it on the website. We want that, Chad. We want that dog mentality on defense. We want the fire. We want that sort of the edginess. But there's that other point, too, about the injuries to the inside linebackers. The Broncos defense is looking good enough where it might not matter the play they get at inside linebacker. The pass rush has been just overwhelming for the Broncos O-line so far in camp. The secondary today had a great day. Barron showed out. PS2 had a would-be pick on Bo Nix. This defense is going to be the best in the NFL. So if there's a little bit of drop-off at inside linebacker, I think this year, Chad, they can weather it.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, they did a solid job of weathering it last year. Josie Jewell, they're not able to bring him back because of the Russell Wilson contract. Cody Barton comes in, then Singleton gets hurt. They got to rely on Sternad. So not a lot went perfectly to plan anyway last year. And the defense, Zach, still finished basically as a top 5 unit and led the NFL in sacks. However, they were very inconsistent against the run. So as good as that front 5 was, right, from the outside linebackers and the interior defensive line, as good as that group was, they were leaky at times. Now, if you look at where they finished against the run in the final analysis, they kind of held their own. They weren't terrible at all. They were up there. I don't have it right in front of me. I can pull it up. But Zach, they had those weird games where they would just leak and the opponent would be able to run it down their throats, especially that last game. Not to say that this is a tirade based on recency bias, Zach, but they had a few leaky moments. So I hear you. I would love to feel 100% the same way, but I remember kind of different times, different points last year, man. That lack of that deficit at inside linebacker did cost him at times.
If you're referring to the Buffalo game, which is where I always go back to, Chad, that should be the benchmark because they got blown out and they made changes because of that. And certainly right, inside linebacker was a major cause for concern. They also didn't have a in-the-box safety, a headhunter like Hufanga. They have him now. They didn't have a solid number 2 cornerback opposite PS2. They have that now with Barron. So maybe I was being a little hyperbolic. They need solid play in the middle, but this defense, regardless, is going to be tops in the NFL. I have no doubt about that.
So they finished third. They gave up 96.4 rush yards per game. And then in the postseason, 210 yards to the Bills. So, and again, it was the kind of thing where they'd allow 60 yards, 75 yards. They do that 2 or 3 times in a row and then like allow a big game. You know, it ends up averaging out and they finish as a top 3 rushing defense. But I'm telling you, man, like if teams that were good at running the ball, like Baltimore, obviously Bills in the playoffs, the Chargers at times, J.K. Dobbins basically had a 100-yard game against the Broncos earlier in the season. So it's a concern, but I'm with you because, hey, Hufanga, he's going to be a factor against the run. And another thing we can't forget is that guy that was supposed to be what Hufanga is this year, P.J. Locke. He was as unreliable as he was last year because he was playing in so much pain, and he's healthy now too. So throw him in at dime backer and let him go wreck people. He'd probably actually thrive pretty decently. Maybe not 100% snap share, but Sam Bam, bro, second super chat of tonight.
Thank you,
love you, big dog. Seriously, thank you, pal. What is the word, Sam asks, about special teams thus far? Who's looking to be the punt and kick returner? Is rookie punter Jeremy Crawshaw the starter, or is there competition there? Will Lutz, of course, is the kicker. Go Broncos. Break it down, Zach.
Crawshaw, I mean, no one's talking about him because he is a punter, Sam, but he has been booming kicks in Broncos training camp. I mean, flipping the field and showing why he was worthy of a 6th-round draft selection. He is going to be a weapon on that side of the ball, and I could not be happier with the kicks that are coming off his leg. So that's, I think maybe long snapper, Chad, because Brony had that offseason surgery, but we haven't heard much there either. I think the special teams, Sam, is pretty set and forget.
Yeah, and it's nice because to have a punter that not only has a big leg, but he's got that accuracy. And one of the big points of emphasis, this isn't punter related, but it's more for Will Lutz, but has been the rule of the new kickoff rules and the whole kind of emphasis on trying to get more returns and incentivizing teams to return it instead of touching it back, et cetera, or vice versa, teams trying to avoid the touchback and kicking it into field of play, etc. That's going to play into, we've been talking about this since they brought in Darren Rizzi because he emphasized this. Marvin Mims, back-to-back All-Pro, back-to-back Pro Bowler as a returner. This could be the year as a returner, like he really goes off because he's only scored a couple of times. As great as he's been, he's only scored, I think, twice, one on one kick and one punt. I could be off on that by one, but nevertheless, I'm excited for the way the special team, Zach, is shaping up, and they have the horses at each spot. Crawshaw's going to have some of his, growing pains as a first-year pro and whatnot, but dude, I saw this guy how often, Zach, are you in a football situation? I don't care if you're in high school, college, watching a pro game, you're at the stadium watching the Broncos, a practice where a punter, you're like watching all this exciting stuff, running backs, wide receivers, defensive linemen, rushing, this and that, and your eyes keep getting drawn to a punter. That doesn't happen, dude, but Crawshaw is that guy. He's I'm glad they got him.
Yeah, same. I love the pick when they made it because we all scouted him at MHH, Chad. We knew the weapon he could be, and that was the only weakness, arguably, on special teams, Sam, last season. Maybe the Gunners like Tremont Smith in that Chargers game, but Riley Dixon was the weakness. We talked about it every week on the game breakdowns, the game previews, and they upgraded big time with Crawshaw. So Darren Rizzi has a good unit on his hands.
We have here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull something up for Phil. Phil jumping in. Good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Is it time to find another inside linebacker? Did we just sign a guy from Nebraska? Hashtag Buckham, MHH for life, Broncos for life. Zach, answer this for him while I pull something up for some research here.
Yeah, Phil, they did sign a linebacker from Nebraska, but he is an outside linebacker. He was more of a tweener at Nebraska, but in the NFL, he's bulked up a little bit, so he's an edge guy, and he's taking the place of Johnny Walker Jr., the outside linebacker rookie who went on IR. So they haven't matched any sort of injury yet to inside. That was an outside addition.
Okay. Yeah, so no, I don't want guys who've been signed. Sorry, I'm trying to pull this up on SpotRec. There we go. Available. So here's who's still out there, Zach. Let's see. Yeah, Juwan Bentley, CJ Mosley retired, or else he'd be atop the list. Josie Jewell is now available, but Zach hasn't cleared concussion protocol, so the odds of him coming back are very slim. It wouldn't shock me if he up and retires with how bad this has been. But Eric Kendricks, there's Devondre Campbell, but do you want that smoke, so to speak, the drama and all that stuff? To me, it's Eric Kendricks. Here's just a few of the names. Neville Hewitt, Chris Barnes, beyond Kendricks, Matthew Adams, Tyler Matekovich, Quan Alexander still out there, Raekwon McMillan. There's a few names that are like semi-experienced, but to me, it's really Eric Kendricks. I'd be on the phone seeing what I could do to get him in Denver, but just as some insurance, man. And I was saying that, as Zach mentioned at the top of the show, I was saying that before they even really got serious about football. So better to have and not need, Zach, than to need and not have.
Exactly. And in hindsight, maybe they should have made that move. But Bentley would be interesting. He was a pretty good run stopper in New England, and it'll only be temporary, Chad, as you mentioned, because they are going to get healthy as the weeks go on at the position.
Brand new member on YouTube. Thank you for pulling the trigger, my friend. Retired Community Magic in the house with us. Stoked. We got some fun stuff coming up this week. On Saturday, I'm going to be doing the first edition of the newly relaunched Broncos Book Club. We're doing the Elway Years by Mike Kliss. So if you're into that, get the book, try and read the first chapter. It might be a little too soon. Retired Community Magic, RCM, for you to jump in on the very first chapter, unless you already own the book. But you could still order the book, get it to you, read the second chapter. We'll get through 2 chapters by the next Saturday, so you could jump in with it. But that's just one of the few things we got cooking on for the members, and it's really exciting. So thank you for joining us, buddy. George Fox, I know it doesn't count, but it's football. Great pod again, guys, tonight. Broncos for life, MHH for life. Hit the thumbs up. There's football happening as we speak, Zach.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are up by 2 touchdowns on the Lions. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. Backups are probably playing by now. Deep backups are playing. But like George said, it's football on the TV. It's football season. We could not be happier around these parts.
Yep. Chargers up 14-0. So let's see. Nope. Only Trey Lance has played for the Chargers. And who's that on the line? Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, it feels good. We're inching closer, guys. We're basically little more than a week from the Broncos' very first preseason game. That's going to start next week. They'll take a trip to the Bay Area. They'll have their joint practice with the Niners, and then they'll play them 2 days later. Phil again says 14-0 Chargers, boo. Fun to see Sterling interviewed about his induction. Sterling Sharp. I haven't watched it. I haven't been watching tonight. I don't have it on. I probably should turn it on. But he says, great guy. Fun to see some football with new rules being used. Already a fumble on punt return and a pass interception. Getting excited for the Niners. Amen, dude. Ronk saying Marvin Mims had a kickoff return for a touchdown against the Dolphins. Broncos doesn't want to be known for
70-20.
That game. Yeah. We're still traumatized by that one.
Thank you, Ron, for the tidbit. Yeah, we all kind of memory hold that because that game was so bad. But hey, Mims always shows out, doesn't he? Even in a blowout loss, a historically bad loss, Mims shows his talent. I cannot wait to see what he does this year.
So Pearl, the strength and conditioning guy, hasn't changed. It's still Dan Dalrymple. And, just in fairness, guys, there's always that 1 or 2 injuries that pop up when things start getting hot in training camp initially. And because this fan base in particular, us included, okay, are so traumatized by how badly the Broncos were snake bitten for so long, it's easy to start kind of knee jerking. Like, no offense here to who was it that said it? I think it was BK. Where all the guys that trash Lando, Glaze the new guy, etc. No offense to you, big dog, but the Broncos' track record in the final analysis is leaps and bounds beyond what it was those 4 years of the Lando regime as the strength and conditioning. So, look, part of this is, hey, who's gotten injured so far, Zach? Like the real injuries that have everyone kind of panicking, not panicking, but worrying a little. All of them are injury guys that we already knew had that as a concern. The Broncos, will find out by the end of the year how right they were to kind of put their chips in on the number of players in free agency this year that had such a recent injury jacket. But even Alex Singleton with the thumb is coming off a year of relative inactivity, the ACL. We already know about Dre Greenlaw. We've talked about that. Drew Sanders can't catch a freaking break when it comes to the injury bug. So those guys, for the most part, Zach, it's basically what you expect to see. What sucks is so far it's been to some key bigger named people.
Seems like a weird hill to die on, like defending Lauren Landau. The Broncos have been so amazingly healthy the last couple seasons, and shouldn't you want your team to stay healthy and not celebrate any sort of injury? But there's 2 points here, Chad, I want to make really quickly. Number one, when you pick, like you were intimating, when you pick up injury-prone players, I've been saying this since we've been podcasting together, more than likely those players are going to get injured. That's who they are. Number two, though, I'm no doctor, but I've covered the NFL long enough where I've known this. If a player has an injury to a quad or an Achilles, like in Greenlaw's case, what they might do, Chad, when they come back is overcompensate with other muscles. They might step differently, move differently, walk differently, and you pick up hamstrings, you pick up other maladies because of that. It's part of football conditioning, and I see Flying Anger Pig says too soon to panic. I agree. We have a lot of time till week 1, and the Broncos will be much healthier by that point.
By the way, Anger Pig, thank you for becoming a member on MHH, buddy. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, and I think, look, in BK, who's a longtime member of the family here at MHH, I know how I kind of feel. It's like that hurtful. I feel disappointed, and so then you kind of want to like start lashing out a little bit, and that's natural. That's normal. But I would still continue to kind of trust Sean Payton and the program they have in place as far as player wellness, strength and conditioning, sports science, diet, all that stuff, nutrition. The biggest thing right now, I think, Zach, that's beginning to be tested, or you could begin the process of indicting them, is we'll see how it plays out. You couldn't actually convict. Could you indict? Yes. Would you get the conviction from a jury? Maybe not right now. It's too soon. Not enough evidence, right? Would be, again, the fact that who did they sign in free agency? Where did all those cap dollars go? Greenlaw, Hufanga, Evan Ingram, all three of whom have very recent injury jackets. Knocking on wood, Hufanga's been great so far. Healthy, he's out there. Ingram as well, which, by the way, man, he's going to be a focal point of this offense. Greenlaw is the one. And it's not that big of a shock, not just Zach because of the injury jacket, but as we were talking about a few minutes ago, dude goes hard, man. Like, he just plays really, really hard. And he's going to get nicked up. Now, if this was a game week, let's say that this happened in a game and the Broncos were playing regular season, he probably jogs off. Maybe they go look at it, but he probably shakes it off and goes back in. Sean Payton was very dismissive, Zach, of that, it being serious. So now the question is, how do you approach it? How do you manage that load, so to speak, of Dre Greenlaw with what remains of training camp and the preseason? Like, it might be better to just, hey, we saw what he can do with the pads on. What I don't know what this means, by the way. I'm going to grab it here in a second from the Lady D. I don't know what this means. Gifted 10 Mile High Huddle memberships.
I think that means she paid for memberships for 10 people in the chat. I think.
Whoa, dude. That is amazing. And on top of that, holy crap, she also threw down a very generous top rope.
Thank you.
Super chat. Lady D jumping in, throwing down. Love you, Deanna. Seriously, thank you so much. She says, evening, everyone. Hoping injuries stay at a minimum. Glad football is starting to show up. Super excited for the season. MHH for life. Man, So generous. Thank you so much, Lady D. We love you. We're super excited to finally get to meet you at the meet and greet this year, October 19th, against the Giants. Gonna be so dope. But not only a generous super chat, Zach, but the gifting of 10 memberships. Amazing.
Unbelievable. I mean, Deanna, you've heard all the superlatives by now. You heard all the praise, and it's been 100% genuine, but you continue to go above and beyond and make us gush. Thank you so much for your generosity. And like Chad said, we're already kind of planning out the itinerary and the attendance for the meet and greet. It's getting closer, and I cannot wait to see you out there.
Yeah, so this is news to me. I just Googled it. I didn't even know that you could do this. To gift YouTube memberships in a live stream, existing channel members can purchase gift memberships for other viewers who aren't yet members. During a live stream, they can do that and select membership gifting. That's amazing. So, wow, Lady D, thank you so much. And I'm sure those who you gifted it to will be stoked as well. Love you.
Deanna, thank you so much again. It's amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. I can't say it enough. So thank you so much, Deanna. As Pearl says here, OMG, Deanna, love you. Indeed. Flying Anger Pig, GOAT, greatest of all time in the hizzy. Totally, dude. Thank you so much, Lady D. Her generosity, Zach, was like a slobber knocker. I was knocked off whatever my train of thought was on Dre Greenlaw. I kind of petered out there for a second, but boy, oh boy, they got to maybe just kind of approach his situation differently. I don't know. Or maybe that would be a case, Zach, of overreacting, or overcorrecting, so to speak. But they're the pros, Bo Lowry, a lot is being put on his shoulders. George became a YouTube member. Love you, bro. Huge supporter already. Thank you, pal. But a lot's already been, Zach, on Lowry's shoulders and also he deserves a lot of credit for how the Broncos turned it around relative to the injury bug. So we'll see how they approach this. And again, Sean Payton said it was not serious. I'm going to take him at his word. Who knows? Maybe we could even see Greenlaw back out there tomorrow. But they didn't have pads on today, for what it's worth. And this happened during a one-on-one drill when he was trailing in coverage type thing. And he kind of pulled up, tried to walk it off. And they said, nah, into the locker room.
That's why I didn't get the previous comment. I don't think we're glazing Dalrymple and Bo Lowry necessarily, but we're praising what they've done with the Broncos strength and conditioning and the lack of injuries. If Lauren Landau would have done that, I would have praised him too. But guess what? He didn't. Quite the opposite.
Unfortunately. And I don't say that to drag him through the mud, so to speak. Like that's the last thing I would want to do. And he is beloved, Zach. He's, again, the reason he even became the Broncos strength and conditioning coach was they had a vacancy on the staff and so many players were going to him for their one-on-one work away from the facility, whether it's especially in the off season, that he was pitched to the team and he got the gig. So Rock, Chad and Zach, I became a MHH Mount Rushmore supporter too. Go check it out, bro. Love you. Thank you so much, Rock. He's the unofficial / I shouldn't even say unofficial. He's the official mayor of our Facebook community. So he's not always on YouTube, but throwing down a support, dude. Appreciate you so much, Ronk. Love you. And we got Hugh Collins. That's a name I've never heard before as the first name. Hugh. That's cool, man. Thank you. Welcome. And also a name we don't recognize on Super Chat. So welcome. Thank you so much for the support, and any comments or questions you have, drop it in the chat. We'd love to answer for you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Hugh. Good to see you, and join the conversation. Let us know what you're thinking.
Okay, let me go to let's recount a few things that happened today at Broncos camp. We touched on some of the injury stuff, but just so we're all aware here, A.T. Perry, Alex Singleton, Drew Sanders, obviously. Q Robinson missed back-to-back practices. We talked about Greenlaw, but Devon Vele returned. So that's good news, Zach, and he looked really good today. So a little bit of an exhale, sigh of relief, Devon Vele back in the saddle.
but we haven't really noticed his absence, and that's a good thing because Marvin Mims has stepped up. Troy Franklin really has stepped up. He might be the biggest winner of Broncos camp so far. Pat Bryant has stepped up. They've also gotten contributions from the lesser-known receivers. Joaquin Davis, undrafted rookie, he had a big day today. They are loaded for bear at wide receiver to the point, Chad, that the future potential wide receiver too, we don't even notice he wasn't practicing or not. That's a good thing.
Yeah, the praise and the gushing on behalf, by the way, of Joaquin Davis. Today, I mean, we've been hearing it throughout camp, like, oh, interesting. Oh, yeah. But today it was like the floodgates opened up. So keep an eye on him, guys. He's an undrafted rookie, 6'4". He's rocking the number 80, so easy to spot, traditional receiver number. We'll see, man, because, I mean, think about it. How many wide receivers are you going to carry on the roster? Sutton, Mims, Vele, Franklin. Every one of those guys is a Broncos draft pick, even though Sutton goes all the way back to 18. Bryant, draft pick. You're going to carry Trent Sherfield. So there's 6. The Broncos typically don't carry more than 6. But maybe they will if Joaquin can convert this and translate this to preseason action, Zach.
Thank you for bringing up Trent Sherfield, because we all thought he'd be a special teamer and just play that side of the ball. He has looked really good, where to the point you can't ignore him as a pass catcher. He gets out there in the run blocking game, but he also has good hands as well. Again, they are loaded for bear at wide receiver. Absolutely.
Seth Harmon, another OG, dating back years as a Mile High Huddle Super Chat superstar, Mount Rushmore guy, going way back, throwing down a super chat and becoming a member. Thank you, Seth. Love you, big dog. Any topics or questions, buddy, hit us up. Huge jumping in with an actual question. Shoot, he says, I forgot to type a message. First time catching a live. Can you give me a prediction for Broncos Chiefs on Christmas and Bengals versus Broncos? That's week 4, Monday Night Football. Zach, that last one, or pardon me, the first one, which is later on in the season. It's hard to predict now, but both of these, man, they're going to be marquee matchups. You start, and I'll riff off of what you have to say for Hugh.
Well, Hugh, you're catching me in a good mood right now, so I'm going to be a little bit of a Broncos homer. These are 2 redemption games for Denver. Obviously, the Chiefs game last year at Arrowhead, the Broncos should have won if not for Alex Forsythe. The Bengals game, the Broncos should have won if they had any sort of defense at all, any sort of defense to stop T. Higgins. I think the Broncos, first of all, that KC game will be, this is my prediction, for the AFC West on Christmas night. The division will be on the line, and I think the Broncos will emerge from that victorious. That's my feeling. Bengals, they're going to catch them at the right time. The Broncos improved their pass defense, and Bo Nix showed he can go toe-to-toe with one of the best in the NFL and Joe Burrow. Again, maybe I'm just feeling good right now. I do think, Hugh, the Broncos win both of these games.
First of all, these 2 matchups, I think, and then throw in also Buffalo, throw in what happened in Baltimore, but these higher quality opponents, like, look, I know the Bengals, that didn't work out for them last year in terms of the playoffs in their season, but that Joe Burrow led team is pretty much tried and true. And those matchups in particular informed a great deal of how the Broncos have built their roster over the past few years. Like, trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to be able to build something that can not only be an effective counterpunch, but, knock these kind of juggernaut style teams out. That Broncos Chiefs game, oh baby, man, that's going to have some huge implications. And so will the Bengals game. I predict, and remember, it took some serious miracles for both teams in that Bengals game last year, week 17. Both teams had some pretty significant miracles occur for that to go to overtime, and then the Bengals, of course, getting the final score. And Sean Payton could have won that game, dude, if he just goes for 2 after that second Marvin Mims touchdown. But, I digress. I'll give you my official prediction, Hugh. I'm going to predict a loss to the Bengals at home on Monday Night Football, but a victory over the Chiefs on Christmas. Sean Payton continuing to signal that, hey, man, those days of the Broncos being Kansas City's doormat in the Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes era are over.
Yeah, truthfully, I could see a split, even though my heart right now tells me the Broncos win both of these games just as some sort of revenge and redemption. But The Bengals Broncos is going to be a shootout. It could be one of the games of the year. I happen to think the Broncos and Commanders game, Bo versus Jaden, Sunday Night Football later in the season, that could be the game of the year. But these are all, like Chad was talking about, litmus tests, barometers for how good the Broncos can be. They want to fancy themselves among the elite in the AFC. To be the best, you have to beat the best. And right now, Kansas City and even Cincinnati, at least with their offense, they are among the better teams in the AFC.
Well, even that question, man, it made me think back to not only what a lot of different players have kind of talked about since training camp kicked up, but like Troutman, again, I'll finish what I already read the first part of what he said about how yesterday's practice, so Wednesday's practice, was the best he's been a part of since he's been a Bronco, and he's been a Bronco here with Sean Payton since the beginning. But then he went on to say that, quote, I think we're trending in the absolute right direction, and guys are completely bought in. Obviously, right now, we're going through the grind of it, especially with 6 practice days in a row here. But guys are bought in, and we're ready to go. And I think it's just starting to dawn on people more and more, both internally and externally, Zach. The Broncos they're checking all the boxes on what it means to be a force to be reckoned with. And even Mike Florio, who, he's not my favorite guy, although I give him his props for being kind of a pioneer in our business. He threw the Broncos in earlier this week as a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So, like, if that's true, and I believe that it is as well, man, I'm predicting that loss not because I want to, but just because, hey, you're going to have 2, you should win type games to open the season. Home against the Titans, on the road Colts. Then you're going to go on the road against the Chargers, who swept you last year. That's going to be a tough game regardless of how it shakes out. Then you come home, you get the extra day of rest, Zach, because it's Monday night. But still, the Bengals are going to be hot. The Broncos, both teams in that Bengals matchup have a revenge motive. The Broncos for obviously losing the game. The Bengals, they won the game last year, but then the Broncos got the last laugh by beating the Chiefs, which 86 them from playoff contention. So I don't know. I could be wrong on that too, man. And I hope that I am. I hope the Broncos win both those games.
Swear to God, when I saw that earlier, I had the same thought. When the Broncos are getting Pro Football Talk to get on their bandwagon and talk about Super Bowl, the tide has officially turned. And in terms of Troutman, Chad, really quickly, that's amazing. Deanna, I just want to say one thing. I don't know if he made the playoffs in New Orleans during his time there, but it's a lot easier to buy in, and it's a lot easier to have excitement and confidence when you're coming off a playoff season, when you're ascending and you're not stuck in the mud and stagnating.
Man, Lady D jumping in with a second generous super chat
so much. Thank
on
you.
top of throwing down 10 memberships to fellow people in the chat. Love you so much, Lady D. She says, I'm hoping we win both those games that Hugh's talking about on Christmas and the one on Monday night. We need to win those, in my opinion. Agreed. I mean, especially for the playoff arithmetic, Zach, you need to win those games. Can't wait for the meet and greet, she says. Super excited. MHH for life. Amen. It's going to be so fun. Cannot wait. And we love meeting and see. I mean, a lot of our great community members, Zach, they come from a long ways away. They've come multiple times. We just kind of expect to see them now, right? They're just the regulars. Like Naj comes to mind right off the top, right? But also each year we get to meet new people that we know in the chat, but are meeting for the first time in person. And it's one of the true perks and joys and spices to the life that we have here and what we do, being able to meet the actual people who not only support us in the chat, contribute to the conversation, but like such huge Broncos fans that we all share that in common, man. I love it. So Lady D, cannot wait.
Yeah, I want to echo what you said right there, Chad. The day of the meet and greets, what I'm most excited about is not going to the football game, is not taking pictures, is not signing anything. It is shaking your guys' hands and thanking you to your face for your generosity. And Deanna, when I think about the people that I want to thank, that I haven't yet in person, you are at the top of that list. And I'm so happy in October I will be able to. Thank you so much virtually once again. And soon I'll thank you in person. Thank you so much.
Dude, honestly, we go to the game because it's like, well, we're here. We might as well go to the game. Like, we care about the meet and greet and hanging out for 3 or 4 hours before the game. And that's why we're there. So anyway, it's going to be a gas. Love you so much, Lady D. Thank you
Deanna.
so much. I want to grab this real quick from Ronk, and then we'll grab Phil. He says, I did order the John Elway book. You're going to get it August 8th. Sick. Guys who have become members on YouTube, it's the Elway years. Remember, we had Mike on a couple months ago when he was releasing this and doing press promo for it, so to speak. We're just doing the first chapter, and each week we'll just knock out a chapter. And in those live streams, chats like this that are going to be for members only, we'll just basically talk about what was written, our thoughts, our observations, the anecdotes. It'll be fun. So get the book if you're interested in that. Even if you're not a big reader, download the Audible and listen, and then be there for the chat. It's going to be a lot of fun. Phil, what is the latest camp report on Lohner and Robinson? So Robinson has missed the last 2 practices with an undisclosed injury. I'm not sure yet, Zach, if there's been – I haven't seen any reporting, and I don't think Coach addressed it specifically today, because yesterday was the first day Robinson missed, and Coach did not hold court after practice. He did today, but all of the focus was on Greenlaw, so I don't think he mentioned it, and I haven't seen any reporting. Have you seen that? And then we'll talk about Lohner.
No, I haven't seen much about Q, except for the fact, like you said, he hasn't practiced the last couple of days. From what I understand, there hasn't been any pressing of the panic buttons in terms of Q Robinson. Could be a minor soft tissue injury. We'll maybe know more tomorrow or as the week goes on.
But Jonathan Cooper, just a couple days ago when he was at the podium, he said that Q is coming on for sure. Definitely a big talent for us. I think is going to be a great addition to the team. So he was building some early momentum, so to speak. So hopefully this won't set him back too much. But on Lohner, man, he's been a lot more. I mean, we knew he's going to be involved in terms of he's going to get his reps, whether it's with the third team or who knows, does he get bumped up in a few first team reps, second team reps here and there? But he's just been looking the part. You know, he looks like a guy out there, Zach, that I should say he doesn't look like a guy out there that has 54 career college football snaps as a tight end. Like, he looks a lot more put together and good to go than his relative college football or just football resume would lead you to believe. So I'm a lot more encouraged on Lohner. Not that I wasn't encouraged. Like, I was stoked on him, but realistically, I'm thinking, yeah, probably a practice squad stash. Hopefully he sticks around long enough that maybe they can develop him and get something out of him later on down the line. But it's looking like he's kind of forcing his way into the conversation a little bit more, and the Broncos are giving him that rope.
They might not be able to hide him on the practice squad, Chad, if he has a good summer. So it's a good problem to have with Caleb Lohner. And this is what he needs right now. It's just developmental time on the practice field, time with the quarterbacks, the timing, the footwork, the route running, all of it. Evan Ingram has done so well in camp, Chad, at tight end that it's been overshadowed. Everyone else has been overshadowed, but Lohner is quietly developing. And I want to echo what Chad said. What was once a no doubt practice squad stash, and he still could be, is now become maybe a tight end 3 candidate on the final roster.
Robert Otteson in the house, dude, on Super Chat. Another longtime Super Chat superstar here at MHH. Great to see you, buddy. Saying, excited about this year, boys. Love from Nevada. Thank you, pal. So good to see you. And, man, Zach, I just took a glance at the clock for the first time. It's already, we're approaching 50 minutes. It feels like we've been on for 5.
It's great. You guys make it. Deanna, every single one of you, Ronk, every single one of you guys. Pearl makes this go round, and it literally flies every single time. I have the same thought.
Okay, so a couple other things I want to touch on. So, guys, this is kind of the 2-minute warning is what I'm getting at here. Any burning questions, topics, supers, get them in the chat. But going back to today's events, it was good to see that Bo Nix and the Broncos offense got their licks in today. I don't know. It might be a little bit of a stretch to say that they won today's practice after, the defense yesterday, and basically the preceding 2 days, it's been defense kind of winning the day. But the Broncos got their licks in. Nix and company, especially at the end of practice in terms of team period when they were running red zone, had multiple touchdowns. I think connected on 5 touchdowns. Yep. And it's good to see, although, again, the defense probably still has the official skin hanging on the wall for today. But, man, against a unit that is that tough. I mean, Allen causing havoc, Benito causing havoc, Cooper. I mean, all of them, dude. JFM. You got a crazy secondary running around, making plays on the ball. So it's definitely the bright side is honing this Broncos offense. I think when it's all said and done in the final analysis, like when they finally get to go against an outside team, Niners next week, I think you're going to see, woo, that has served them well going against it. They've built up some muscles, some callus, so to speak, going against this defense every single day.
I hate the phrase, but it really is iron sharpens iron when Bo Nix gets to practice against the best defense in the NFL day after day. To your point, when he plays the Niners or the Cardinals or anybody else, it's going to seem like a breeze compared to what he's had to go against with the Denver defense. And like you were right, Chad, PS2 dropped a Bo Nix pick today. They've been getting continual pressure on Bo Nix every single day at training camp. I don't know if the offense won today. They just didn't lose as badly as they did yesterday. It was pure one-sided domination, Chad, from the defense.
We also, as I mentioned earlier, Evan Ingram. I mean, he is going to be a huge factor here. I think Cortland Sutton, like when the chips are down, he's still going to be that security blanket that Bo Nix looks to, especially initially in the season. But if Ingram stays healthy, as I touch wood saying that, man, he's in store for a renaissance year, the way it's looking. The Broncos had the refs come in, do a bunch of education for a couple days, meetings, emphasizing some of the new rule changes and this and that. And they were pretty active today, Zach, with especially the
pre-snap
alignment stuff, pre-snap, that was kind of making sure the Broncos are minding their P's and Q's. And then I think we kind of covered the majority of it. We talked about Joaquin. Keep an eye on him, guys, number 80.
Really quickly, I love what Cortland Sutton said behind the podium yesterday, Chad, talking about the massive deal he just signed. And he said, I don't want to be a distraction. I love this team. I want to retire here. He talked about playing with Bo Nix. He loves sharing a locker room with him. I mean, again, the Broncos got lucky considering what they've put him through, that Cortland Sutton didn't turn out to be this horrible wide receiver diva. He's quite the opposite and worthy of every penny that he got, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, baby. It's going to be a fun year. Thank you, Ronk, jumping in to say great show tonight. And, of course, his patented Go Bo Broncos. Taylor also jumping in on Super Chat, a superstar and member on MHH, saying, any surprises so far this training camp besides the middle linebacker injuries? And even those, frankly, weren't surprises, right? Like we kind of, again, if the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, I think we're all kind of wound up for the possibility of Greenlaw getting nicked up, Singleton, Sanders, even though our hopes were in the other direction. But what's been the biggest surprise or any surprises for you up to this point, Zach?
Well, I didn't think Troy Franklin would so soon break out in camp, but he has. I didn't think Lavelle Bailey would stand out so soon in camp, but he has. But Chad, I had no idea that Trent Sherfield was going to go out and be this pass-catching maven. I legitimately thought, I wrote up the story when they signed him. I thought he was just going to be primarily a core special teams player, similar to what they had in Tremont Smith last year. He never played any other position. He played special teams, but he has been shagging balls out of the air no matter what quarterback is throwing it to him and vacuuming it up, and also doing work in the run blocking game as well. That to me is one of the biggest eye-opening surprises, is the development of wide receiver Trent Sherfield.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good the way this wide receiver core is shaping up for being ranked by many publications this offseason is, bottom third. They had moved up for the most part, a few spots at least over last year's rankings of like dead last or 30th or whatever, but it's looking like the wide receiver core is going to be a much more productive and prolific unit than, once again, that the national perspective gives them credit for. But I think you touched on him, dude. Especially Franklin has been a very pleasant surprise, but I want to give some credit to Thomas Hall. We were talking about this last night when I guest hosted with him for Luke. In January, I think it was like January 17th, a few days after the playoff loss, he throws down 2 players to watch as breakout guys for 2025. And how many articles have already been written, including from different MHH writers, about, hey, watch out, Marvin Mims, breakout candidate, hey, Troy Franklin, etc. No. His breakout candidates is 2 guys, Lavelle Bailey and Ioma Uwazurike, both of whom are turning heads in training camp thus far. So credit to Tom on that, but Lavelle Bailey, I got to be honest, Zach, has probably been the biggest surprise to me, a pleasant surprise.
Again, I'm surprised that he didn't get more looks last season with all the ineffectiveness and injuries to the Broncos inside linebacker core. He had that big pick 6 in the preseason, then they stashed him after that. So I'm happy Bailey's getting his spotlight now.
Robert became a member, dude. Thank you, pal. Much love. Really appreciate the support, my dog. Okay, guys, we got a few messages for you. Don't leave quite yet. And then we'll take one last look at the chat before we dip.
I can't believe it's been 55 minutes already. You guys make this the best podcast in the entire football universe. Thank you so much. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle, Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out MHHmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can find us on Instagram at mile_high_huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, the most important thing you can do is subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
Amen to that. And as Robert says, glad to be part of the team. Yeah, it's going to be fun, dude. We're going to do some members-only live streams beyond, of course, Broncos Book Club. I'm going to be rolling it out here in the next week or so, the phone number that we're going to be working into the live show that only the members will be able to leave messages on. It's going to be fun. So anyway, appreciate you, Robert. And Patrick in Paradise, Aloha Priest, and the Deacon. Lion Coffee, guys. Get you some. Get you some.
Yep.
A mile high salute and a special shout out, though, to the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, members, helping us keep the lights on tonight. The Lady D just top roping it. And guys, she gifted 10 memberships. So I'm not sure exactly how it works, as you guys have figured out by now, but maybe check your notifications to see if you were one of the people in the chat tonight. She gifted that membership too. So check it out. Love you, Lady D. Also, Sam Bam, multiple supers tonight. The Ronk. Phil, members, Papa Bear, member, brand new member, Retired Community Magic, George Fox, new member, but also an OG. Hude, welcome to the Manger Brothers. Great to hear from you in the chat. Thank you for the super. Seth Harmon, super chat, becoming a member. Robert Otteson as well. Taylor, member, much love and respect. Patrick, love you guys. Today's Thursday, so Zach and I are off till Sunday. Can't wait to see you then, but there'll be some Dove Valley Deep Divers action tomorrow night. I might end up on that show because I jinxed it last night. They're like, are you going to be on every show this week? And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. The Friday night guys are pretty reliable. And then Eric texted me. He's like, hey, dude, I'm probably going to go solo tomorrow because Lance can't make it. He's got a thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll do it. My wife's going to divorce me. Just kidding. She won't. She loves what we do. Seriously. I have the best wife. She does not ever break my cashews, so to speak, over any of this stuff and the ridiculous amount of time and effort and energy and focus I put into this. She's all for it. So she loves it just like the rest of us. So anyway, love you guys. See you on Sunday. I'll probably see you tomorrow night, but Zach and I together will see you on Sunday.
And we will have plenty of written content coming your way from training camp, so we'll look out for that. We'll see you Sunday. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.